Nothing owns you, unless you give it permission. And yet, how often do we hand over our freedom to opinions, to judgments, to whispers of people who do not walk our path? How often do we shrink ourselves, not because we lack ability, but because we fear someone else's approval? It is one of the greatest prisons of the modern world, not a prison built of walls and chains, but of invisible bars, crafted from the gaze of others. Every time you hesitate before speaking, every time you bury a dream inside your chest, every time you hide your true self because of what someone might say, you are handing over your power. You are surrendering your voice to noise. But here is the truth they never tell you. Opinions do not define you. They are mirrors fogged by bias, cracked by projection, distorted by someone else's insecurities. People judge not because they see you clearly, but because they cannot escape themselves. The person who laughs at your ambition is only echoing their own fear of failure. The one who criticizes your courage is often terrified to risk. The voices that tell you you can are almost always the voices that never tried. And yet, too many live small, not because they are incapable, but because they are weighed down by ghosts of other people's expectations. Imagine for a moment a life unshackled from those opinions. Imagine waking up with the certainty that no word, no look, no judgment could steer you from your course. That is not arrogance, that is freedom. True freedom is not doing whatever you want. It is becoming who you are meant to be without apology. It is standing tall in your truth even when the world stares. It is walking forward even when no one claps. It is choosing your own voice above the static. And when you do, something miraculous happens. The world begins to bend around you. Opportunities open, doors unlock. Respect flows not because you begged for it, but because authenticity commands it. You were not born to be caged by opinion. You were not born to be owned by anyone's expectations. You were born to create, to rise, to carve your path into the stone of time. And yes, the opinions will come. They will follow you like shadows, but shadows cannot stop the light. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them laugh. While they are busy watching, you will be busy building. And one day, the very mouths that doubted you will be the same mouths that speak your name with respect. That is the paradox of life. Those who once tried to chain you with opinion will one day wish they had your freedom. So choose today. Choose to stop caring about their noise and start owning your life, because nothing owns you, not fear, not doubt, not their judgment. You own you, and that is enough to build everything. Caring too much about what others think is not weakness, it is conditioning. From the time we are children, we are measured, compared, graded, rewarded when we conform, punished when we deviate. We learn to seek approval, to fear rejection, to equate our worth with applause. It begins innocently enough. The smile when you behave, the praise when you succeed, the disapproval when you stumble. But over years, this training hardens into chains. We silence our voice before it even leaves our lips. We abandon passions because they are not practical. We mold ourselves into shapes that fit others' expectations, forgetting the unique shape we were born to hold. And so, adults walk around carrying invisible cages, cages whose bars are painted with opinions. But here's the paradox. The very people whose opinions we fear are themselves prisoners. The colleague who criticizes you terrified of their own mediocrity. The family member who doubts your dream, haunted by the dream they abandoned. The friend who belittles your ambition, afraid your courage exposes their complacency. We waste years fearing the judgment of people who are still wrestling with their own demons, and by doing so we forfeit the one life we have. What happens when you stop caring about opinions? At first, the silence feels deafening. You realize how much of your energy was wasted chasing validation. You realize how many dreams you buried because of imagined laughter. You realize how small you made yourself to fit into spaces never meant for you. But then, slowly, you begin to breathe. You begin to live. You discover the only approval that matters is the approval of the person in the mirror. That approval cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. It can only be earned by choosing your truth daily. Psychologically, this shift is profound. Neuroscience shows people driven by external approval burn out faster, quit sooner, live with higher anxiety. But those fueled by inner alignment become resilient, fulfilled, courageous. This is why the path to owning your life begins not with silencing the world, but by strengthening your inner voice. The world will always have opinions, but when your inner compass is stronger than their noise, you are untouchable. Think of history's great visionaries. Galileo condemned by the church, yet his truth outlived them all. Rosa Parks refused to move, and in her silence, shattered the weight of an unjust system. Steve Jobs told his ideas were foolish, yet his vision reshaped the future. They were not free from judgment, they were judged harder than most, but they chose not to be owned by it. And because they did, they changed everything. And the same power lies in you. You may not be building iPhones, you may not be leading revolutions, but you are building a life. And if you let opinions own you, that life will never belong to you. It will belong to everyone else. But if you choose authenticity over approval, your life becomes yours. Yours to design, yours to own. And that more than wealth, more than status, more than applause is true success. Owning your life is not about rejecting every opinion. It is about discerning which voices deserve space in your mind. Constructive feedback builds you. Toxic judgment breaks you. A mentor who challenges you from love worth listening to. A stranger who mocks you from insecurity not worth a second of your time. The danger comes when you cannot tell the difference. When you give every opinion equal weight. When you treat casual comments as eternal truths. To own your life, you must build filters. Filters that protect your focus, your energy, your spirit. Yes, it takes courage. It is easier to go along with the crowd. Easier to stay silent. Easier to bend. But comfort is not freedom. Safety is not ownership. You do not own your life when every decision is checked against what will they think. You own your life when your values, not their voices, guide your path. That may mean being misunderstood. That may mean being doubted. That may mean walking alone. But it also means walking in truth. And truth will always outlast opinion. The psychology of ownership is simple. Autonomy breeds power. Studies prove people who feel in control of their choices are happier, healthier, more fulfilled. Those who live for validation remain anxious, restless, dissatisfied. When you stop caring about opinions, you don't become careless. You become careful with your energy. No longer scattered across 1,000 voices, now channeled into one, your own. That focus creates momentum. Momentum creates miracles. Think of your life as a canvas. If you let everyone add their stroke, it becomes chaos. But if you own the brush, it becomes a masterpiece. Opinions are background noise. Your vision is the song, and songs are remembered. Not because everyone approved, but because someone had the courage to sing. So stop living for applause that fades. Stop bending for approval that shifts. Stop waiting for permission that will never come. You have one life. Own it. Live it so fully that when you look back, you never say, I lived their life, but with pride, declare I lived mine. That is freedom. That is power. That is the miracle of owning your life. And so we return to the truth. Nothing owns you, not their opinions, not their doubts, not their laughter. Unless you hand them the keys, no one can own your mind, your choices, or your future. The prison you feel is often not real, it is imagined. The bars are not iron, they are words, and words only have power if you surrender yours. So stop surrendering. Stop shrinking. Stop allowing shadows to dictate the light of your destiny. Think about it, every judgment you've ever feared, every whisper that made you hesitate, every sideways glance that made you retreat. Where are they now? Do they live inside your body? Do they define your worth? No, they are gone, like smoke dissolved into air, while you remain, you the dreamer, you the builder, you the one still standing. Life is not waiting for the approval of others, it is waiting for you to claim it with both hands, unapologetically and fully. The people who doubted you will forget their words, but if you let them stop you, you will never forget your silence. And regret is the heaviest chain of all. Owning your life means rewriting the script of your mind. It means breaking free from the constant loop of what will they think, and replacing it with what do I want? What do I value? Who am I becoming? That is where true power begins, not in controlling their perception, but in claiming your direction. You cannot stop people from talking, but you can stop giving their words residence in your heart. You cannot silence every critic, but you can drown them out with the sound of your own progress. You cannot erase doubt from the world, but you can prove it irrelevant by moving forward anyway. There will always be voices trying to pull you back. Some out of fear, some out of envy, some simply out of habit. But here's the truth. They cannot chain you unless you bend your head willingly, lift your head, straighten your spine, walk with the unshakable conviction that your life is yours to live. Every step you take in authenticity is a declaration of freedom. Every choice you make aligned with your truth is a strike against the invisible prison of opinion. And every day you refuse to bow to the noise. You grow stronger, louder, brighter, until your very existence becomes proof that freedom is possible. Do not wait for the world to understand you. Most great lives are misunderstood while they are being lived. Do not wait for applause. Applause fades, but self-respect echoes. Do not wait for permission. Permission is the language of those too afraid to lead themselves. Own your life by living it so fully that others are forced to confront their own half-lived days. Let your courage expose their fear. Let your freedom remind them of their chains. Let your authenticity be the mirror that shows them what they could be if only they stopped bowing to opinion. And yes, the path will test you. There will be moments when you feel the sting of rejection, the loneliness of walking alone, the weight of misunderstood choices. But remember this. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the absence of connection to your own soul. When you walk in alignment with your truth, you are never truly alone. The universe has a way of sending allies, of drawing kindred spirits, of aligning circumstances with courage. But that alignment begins with you taking the first step. It begins with you choosing authenticity over approval. It begins with you saying, this is my life, and I will own it. Think of the freedom waiting for you beyond opinion, the freedom to speak without fear of rejection, the freedom to create without fear of ridicule, the freedom to live without asking for permission. That freedom is not a luxury, it is your birthright. And yet, so many never taste it, because they are too busy managing other people's perceptions. But perceptions change like weather. They shift with time, with mood, with circumstance. To build your life on them is to build your house on sand. But to build your life on truth, that is building on rock. That is building something unshakable. So let the world talk, let them whisper, let them doubt. You do not owe them silence, and you do not owe them proof. You owe yourself the courage to live as only you can. Every day you walk forward in that courage, you weaken the chains of opinion. Every day you choose your voice over their noise, you grow stronger, and one day, you will look back and realize those opinions that once felt so heavy now mean nothing. What will matter is not what they thought of you, but what you became despite them. Remember this, you are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to live a life that feels true to you. Greatness has never been born from conformity. Freedom has never been handed out by approval. Legacy has never been built on fitting in. It has always been carved by those who dared to stand apart, who dared to ignore the laughter, who dared to keep walking when others turned back. You are capable of that same daring. The only thing standing in your way is the weight you give to their words. So release it. Release the fear. Release the need to be liked. Release the prison of opinion. You will not lose yourself. You will finally find yourself. For nothing owns you, not fear, not doubt, not their judgment. You own you. And that is enough to rise, to build, to live fully, and to leave behind not just footprints, but a path others will follow. Own your life and the world will adjust. Own your life and regret will vanish. Own your life and freedom will no longer be a dream, it will be the air you breathe. This is your call. This is your reminder. This is your moment. Stop caring about opinions. Start owning life. Because in the end, the loudest voice you will ever hear is not theirs, it is your own. Make sure it says, with unshakable certainty I lived, I rose, I owned every breath of my existence.